Yay, so so plate 8 was where Krishna's being apparently attempted, Mother Jasoda is trying to tie him up. So next month we're chanting a bhajan that relates to a lot of that Leela, Lord Damodar Astaga. Beautiful song that apparently Chintamani and Jayadev will be attempting to do that every day for 15-20 minutes, which we can all tune into if we're not busy. All right, well, without further ado, I'll chant some nice mantras, glorification of the great teachers, then we can begin. Om Agyanatamanandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshuvan Malatam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Gavabhashta Sapurakam Guru Ganara Shishya Sambhushitam Chancha Chancha Samashtaveda Nipunam Shri Rupa Patanugam Govindavidam Udvalam Paratunam Bhaktan Vitam Shandanam Vande Vishvaguran Chadipi Bhagavat Pranohi Picha Pradam Devam Divitanam Suchandavanam Balakachalam Chitam Shanvananapuram Sarakavanam Varakivitam Buddhim Shri Siddhantaninam Subhaktalashitam Sarasvatanam Varam Vandaitam Shubharam Marekasananam Nishishvaram Sridharam Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Swami Shri Bhaktivedanta Prabhupadaya Te Namaha Guru Vagnam Shirashudrichi Shakyavesha Svarupane Hare Krishna Te Mantrina Praschacha Prachatarane Visvacharya Pavayarya Divakarunamurtaye Shri Bhagavata Madhuya Gita Jnana Pradayane Gaura Shirupa Shidanta Saraswati Nishevane Radha Krishna Padamboja Brangaya Guruve Namaha Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sundabhayevacha Patitanam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadha Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai. Awesome. At any point, you know, any fogginess, any type of feelings that aren't in sync with your intuitive center consciousness, then immediately take Maha Mantra, either in the mind or audibly, and it will reset, bring us into a connection again. Because, yeah, Maha Mantra is Krishna. Yay. All right, so whoever feels inspired, we have the, yes.
I'd be happy to start us off today.
Yay.
Awesome. So plate 9. One reason why Lord Krishna's activities appeared bewildering to Queen Kunti was that he came to this world to fulfill many purposes simultaneously. One important purpose was simply to satisfy the desires of his dear devotees, Vasudeva and Devaki. In their former lives, Vasudeva and Devaki were known as Sutapa and Prishni. They were ordered by Lord Brahma to produce offspring, and so they engaged themselves in severe austerities for thousands of years. Being pleased by their penances, Krishna came before them and asked them what they wanted. They said, "We want a son like you. That is our desire." Krishna agreed, and in their next lives, Sutapa and Prishni, now Vasudeva and Devaki, had the extraordinary opportunity to play the role of Lord Krishna's parents. As shown here, Vasudeva and Devaki were within Kamsa's prison when Lord Krishna, in his Vishnu form, appeared before them as their son. He appeared from the heart of Devaki in the dense darkness of night, like the full moon rising on the eastern horizon. The newborn child had very wonderful lotus-like eyes and bore in his 4 hands a conch shell, disc, club, and lotus. On his chest was the mark of Srivatsa, and on his neck the brilliant Kaustuba gem. Then, After receiving prayers from Vasudeva and Devaki and instructing them, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, transformed himself into his original form as a small human child, which we'll see on page 118.
So yeah, the appearance. So this is the Vatsalya, the 5 different relationships that are possible with the Supreme Entity. You'll see that in the material realm, they exist here, Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhura. So neutrality, which is a passive relationship, like offering your services as a banana tree or a peach tree or grass, more passive. So fully surrendered to the Supreme, but not active in the seva. Then the next relationship, Dasya, means servitorship. So fully surrendered, but in action as a servitor. That type of relationship, which we see in the world. Like if you go to work, you're the employee, and then there's the employer, and you're the good worker. Hopefully, if you're a good worker, you get paid well. And then, of course, friendship, Sakya. So examples of these relationships. So Prahlad Maharaj, Shanta, servitorship, Dasya, Hanuman is serving Sita Ram. Sakya, friendship, is Arjuna, and also we see in Braj Leela, the cowherd boys as friends. And then Vatsalya, which is the reference here. This is Nanda Devaki. Here we go, and just see the Vasudeva and Devaki, and Nanda Jashoda. So these two, and interesting that in their previous lives, it says here they lived as Sutapa and Prishni, and they wanted a son like Krishna. So through the great performance of Jagya service, then they got that chance. So some jivas, their inclination is that they want to worship God. So Krishna is always at the center, and so the baby is at the center. So God is served by the mother, the father. So Vasudeva, Devaki. And then, of course, we know that the foster parents became Nanda Jasoda because of the reign of Kamsa. Kamsa wanted to kill all the babies in the Braja, Mathura area. And so he was saved by Vasudeva taking Krishna to Nanda and Jasoda. So Nanda and Jasoda became the foster parents. So this is why he's known as Devaki Nandana. He's known as Yasoda Nandana. Nandana means son of. So anyway, as we go on the path of bhakti, these terms, Nandana and the parents of Krishna, you'll become familiar with this history. Hare Krishna. All right, plate 10.
Okay, plate 10. Queen Kunti here recalls another reason why the Lord appeared in the world. Others say that you appeared because the world, being overburdened like a boat at sea, was much aggrieved, and that Brahma, who is your son, prayed for you, and so you appeared to diminish the trouble. Within the halo of the universe, there is a transcendental planet known as Sveta Dvipa, which is the abode of Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. Would you like to correct that?
Yeah, no, that's, Shirodakshayi, Shira. Milk. Shira means milk. The Lord who lays on the milk ocean.
Cool. And the first word, Shveta.
Shveta Dweep.
Okay.
Navadweep, Shveta Dweep. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Mm.
The supersoul feature of the Supreme Lord. Whenever there is trouble in the universe that cannot be solved by the administrative demigods, they approach Lord Brahma, the secondary creator of the universe, for a solution. If even Lord Brahma cannot solve the problem, then he consults with and prays to Kshirodakshai Vishnu for an incarnation who can. Such a situation arose when Kamsa and other demons ruled the earth. At that time, the earth became distressed by the demons' misdeeds, and Lord Brahma, along with the other demigods, prayed at the shore of Kshirodaka ocean. Vishnu then informed Brahma of the imminent descent of Lord Krishna as the son of Vasudeva and Devaki.
Mm. So do you see there, they all came, and Lakshmi there is massaging the feet of Kshirodakshai Vishnu. So Kshirodakshai Vishnu is there on the Shvetadvip planet and also within the heart. So two aspects, Chaitya Guru and also Kshirodakshai. So there's the Karanadakshai, Kshirodakshai, Garbhadak. Garbhadak is also within the ocean of the Garbhadak. And Karana is the form of Vishnu who's from the pores of his transcendental body. The Brahmandas are being produced as eggs, transcendental eggs, like perspiration bubbles coming out, and that's the material system. And then Kshirodakshai Vishnu is the form of Vishnu that is on the Shvetadvip planet, the Vishnu Loka planet within each universe, Shvetadvip, and then in the Milk Ocean. So the demigods assemble, and Brahma goes to that place to counsel with Kshirodakshai Vishnu. Then there's the Garbhadak, which is the half of the universe. The Brahmanda is filled up with a ocean, called the Garbhadak, watery portion. And that's where, again, Lord Vishnu lies on the Garbhadak ocean and is, from his navel, the planetary systems exist, and Brahma sits on the top of the lotus. So within that system, then there's the third form, Kshirodakshai. And then Kshirodakshai also has the connection with Paramatma, or the Chaitya Guru. Mm. Hare Krishna. But when I first heard these, it's quite, quite amazing, the descriptions. But it is there more in detail. Later we'll go through the Srimad Bhagavatam, and we'll go into all of these explanations and understanding. So it will become more familiar, all these points, divine creation, and Srimad Bhagavatam reveals all this to us.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I might take one more page and then pass over to Madhura Nitai if you'd like to read today.
Sure.
Okay. Plate 11. At the conclusion of her prayers, Queen Kunti asked Krishna to cut off her mundane attachment to her family members so that she can be attracted to him alone. O Lord of Madhu, as the Gangas forever flows to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn unto you without being diverted to anyone else. Just to enchant the hearts of pure devotees like Queen Kunti, who possessed maternal affection for him, Krishna enacted his delightful childhood pastimes in Vrindavan. Here we see how he and his brother Balaram, stole butter from the pots hanging in the home of one of his mother's friends. Several of her friends caught Krishna in the act, and later they went to Krishna's mother, Yashoda, and jokingly complained about him. My dear mother Yashoda, your son always comes to our houses and steals butter. When we conceal our butter pots in the dark so that he might not see them, somehow he still finds them. We think that the light of his jeweled ornaments helps him find the butter pots. So could you please remove the jewels from his body? Mother Yashoda replied, "Yes, I will take off all his ornaments." But then the neighbors said, "No, no, on second thoughts, that would be useless. Somehow this boy has an effulgence that emanates from his very body, so he would find the butter even without the ornaments."
So Krishna is very, he's naughty. So the naughtiness in human is there because it exists in the Supreme. But there it's perfect naughtiness. So Krishna appears to be stealing, but everything is his. So he's not stealing. He's taking everything that belongs to him, which is everything, including ourselves. So you'll be glad to know that Krishna is also attempting to steal us. He is like a thief in the night. He's coming to claim us as his own. And he has right to do that. Why? Because we belong to him. Creation, creator. But more than creator, he's the owner, the Ishvaraha, Paramaha, Krishnaha, Satchidananda Vigraha, Anadir, Adir, Govinda, Savakarana Karanam, the Supreme Ishvara, controller, owner. So love can claim ownership over the units of love. His units, his part and parcels. So as part and parcels, he comes to conquer us and capture us and steal our hearts through Lord Chaitanya as the Uttariya Leela, the distribution of Braja. So Krishna is naughty. He steals butter, he steals the hearts of the gopis, he's capturing us. And how he does that in the Kali Yuga is through Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Through Prasadam, Mahamantra, through the Vaishnava, through the Acharya. Prabhupada came, everyone saw him. And in the early years, one early devotee, Keith Ham was his name. Later he became Kirtanananda Das, and then later Kirtanananda Maharaj. One reporter famously asked him, "What is it? What is it? Why did you come to this Krishna, and why did you give up the American dream?" And he famously replied in one video that there's something about the Swami. There's something that the Swami has that we want. And what is it that the Swami was carrying? Krishna in his heart. Krishna consciousness. And he was delivering Krishna consciousness on behalf of his own master, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So all the young American boys and girls who initially met him, they were captured. And they gave up the American dream, or maybe the American nightmare for some, and came to his teachings and embraced. So Krishna is capturing us through the divine masters. And so this is how Krishna. So Krishna is a thief. He's naughty. But perfectly naughty, a perfect thief. If he steals your heart, then that's very good. He's stealing his own property. So very beautiful. Very beautiful. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jenna, do you feel like Krishna's stealing your heart?
One day at a time.
One day at a time. I think there's it's true, we're being, the stealing of the heart is also us surrendering. So we'll move through the different stages. Kanishta Adhika, Madhyam Adhika. Uttam Adhikari means the stage of full surrender to love, fully captured. So there's the beginning aspect of being captured, the middle stage, and then the advanced stage. So Nama Parad, Nama Bas, and then Sudanam. Yeah. Nama Parad means chanting with some resistance. The middle stage, Nama Bas, is being captured with hazy, like less resistance. And Sudanam means no resistance, fully captured, fully blossomed. Love of God, love of Krishna. Yeah. Resistance is futile. Why? Because Krishna, the all-attractive. Introduction.
I can do it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes, competition in the service. It's good.
let's go, Madura. Just kidding.
You can go. You can
Okay.
go.
Introduction. The tragic and heroic figure of Queen Kunti emerges from an explosive era in the history of ancient India. As related in the Mahabharata, in India's grand epic poem of 110,000 couplets, Kunti was the wife of King Pandu and the mother of 5 illustrious sons known as the Pandavas. As such, she was one of the central figures in a complex political drama that culminated 50 centuries ago in the Kurukshetra War, a devastating war of ascendancy that changed the course of world events. The Mahabharata describes the prelude to the Holocaust as follows. Pandu became king because his elder brother Dhritarashtra had been born blind, a condition that excluded him from the direct succession. Sometime after Pandu ascended to the throne, Dhritarashtra married Gandhari and fathered 100 sons. This was the ruling family of the Kaurava dynasty, of whom the eldest was the ambitious and cruel Duryodhana. Meanwhile, Pandu had taken 2 wives, Madri and Kunti. Originally named Prita, Kunti was the daughter of Shurasena, the chief of the glorious Yadu dynasty. The Mahabharata relates that Kunti was gifted with beauty and character. She rejoiced in the law, dharma, and was great in her vows. She also possessed an unusual benediction. When she was a child, her father Shurasena had given her in adoption to his childless cousin and close friend Kunti Boja, hence the name Kunti. In her stepfather's house, Kunti's duty was to look after the welfare of guests. One day, the powerful sage and mystic Durvasa came there and was pleased by Kunti's selfless service. Foreseeing that she would have difficulty conceiving sons, Durvasa gave her the benediction that she could invoke any demigod and by him obtain progeny.
So just one quick point is we're now being prepared that there has been some theories, amongst the New Ages and different people with theories of the cosmic connections between humans and gods. So now the Vedas is about to reveal that human woman in bygone ages, according to the Veda, had communion with demigod. And the Pandavas are actually a result of that. So in the Vedic times, like if this planet comes under, again, Aryan or Vedic rule, the demigods may also come and move amongst us. That's true. That's possible. And in the Vedic times, that is what was happening. So you're very interesting. So it's not fairy for us in the sense that the beings from higher systems were communing and having relation with human. Yes, please continue. Hare Krishna.
After Kunti married Pandu, he was placed under a curse that prevented him from begetting children. So he renounced the throne and retired with his wife to the forest. There, Kunti's special benediction enabled her to conceive, at her husband's request, 3 glorious sons. First, she invoked Dharma, the demigod of religion. After worshipping him and repeating an invocation Durvasa had taught her, she united with Dharma and in time gave birth to a boy. As soon as the child was born, a voice with no visible source said, "This child will be named will be called Yudhishthir, and he will be very virtuous. He will be splendid, determined, renounced, and famous throughout the 3 worlds." Having been blessed with this virtuous son, Pandu then asked Kunti for a son of great physical strength. Thus Kunti invoked Vayu, the demigod of the wind, who begot the mighty Bhima. Upon Bhima's birth, the supernatural voice said, "This child will be the foremost of all strong men." Therefore, Pandu consulted with great sages in the forest and then asked Kunti to observe vows of austerity for 1 full year. At the end of this period, Pandu said to Kunti, "O beautiful one, Indra, the king of heaven, is pleased with you, so invoke him and conceive a son." Kunti then invoked Indra, who came to her and begot Arjuna. As soon as the prince was born, the same celestial voice boomed through the sky. "O Kunti, this child will be as strong as Kartavira and Shipi, 2 powerful kings of Vedic times, and as invincible in battle as Indra himself. He will spread your fame everywhere and acquire many divine weapons. Subsequently, Pandu's... Sorry. No, you can't play with those. Thank you. Okay. Pandu's junior wife Madri bore 2 sons named Nakula and Sahadeva. These 5 sons of Pandu, Yudhishthir, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula, and Sahadeva, then came to be known as the Pandavas. Now, since Pandu had retired from the throne and gone to the forest, Dhritarashtra had temporarily assumed the throne until Pandu's eldest son Yudhishthir came of age. However, long before that time, Pandu died as a result of the curse, and Madri gave up her life as well by ascending his funeral pyre. That left the 5 Pandavas in the care of Queen Kunti. After Pandu's death, the sages living in the forest brought the 5 young princes in Kunti to the Kaurava court at Hastinapur, near present-day Delhi. In Hastinapur, the capital city of the kingdom, the 5 boys were raised in royal style under the guidance of Dhritarashtra and the noble Vidura, Pandu's half-brother. But a smooth transfer of power was not to be. Although Dhritarashtra had at first recognized the primogeniture of Yudhishthir, he later allowed himself to be used by his eldest son, the power-hungry Duryodhana, who wished to ascend the throne in place of Yudhishthir. Driven by uncontrollable jealousy, Duryodhana plotted against the Pandavas, and with the hesitant approval of the weak Dhritarashtra, he inflicted many sufferings upon them. He made several attempts on their lives in Hastinapur, and then he brought them to a provincial palace and tried to assassinate them by having it set on fire. All the while, the 5 youthful Pandavas were accompanied by their courageous mother Kunti, who suffered Duryodhana's atrocities in the company of her beloved sons. Should I keep going, or?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Miraculously, however, Kunti and the Pandavas repeatedly escaped death, for they were under the loving protection of Lord Krishna, who had incarnated to perform his earthly pastimes. Ultimately, Duryodhana, a clever politician, cheated the Pandavas out of their kingdom and their freedom in a gambling match. As a result of the match, the Pandavas' wife Draupadi was abused by the Kauravas, and the Pandavas themselves were forced to spend 13 years in exile in the forest, to the great sorrow of Kunti. When the 13-year exile had ended, the Pandavas returned to Hastinapur to reclaim their kingdom, but Duryodhana bluntly refused to relinquish it. Then, after some unsuccessful attempts to quell the hostilities, Yudhishthir sent Krishna himself to secure the return of the Pandava kingdom by peaceful means. But even this effort failed because of Duryodhana's obstinacy. Okay. And both sides prepared for battle. To place Yudhishthir on the throne, or to oppose him, great warriors from all corners of the earth assembled, setting the scene for what would prove to be a devastating world war. Fierce fighting raged for 18 days on the historic plain of Kurukshetra near Hastinapur, and in the end, all but a handful of the many millions of warriors were dead. Only Lord Krishna, the Pandavas, and a few others survived the massacre. The Kauravas, Duryodhana, and his brothers were devastated. In a desperate gesture of revenge, Ashvatthama, one of the surviving Kauravas, mercilessly murdered the 5 sons of Draupadi while they were sleeping. Queen Kunti thus suffered a final blow, the loss of her grandchildren. Jeez, that sucks.
Yeah.
Arrested and dragged to the Pandavas' camp like a bound animal, Ashvatthama was let free only by the astounding compassion of Draupadi, the slaughtered boy's mother, and Kunti's daughter-in-law, who pleaded for his life. But the shameless Ashvatthama made one more attempt to kill the last heir of the Pandavas, their unborn grandson in the womb of Uttara, by hurling the supreme Brahmastra weapon. When she saw the missile flying straight at her, Uttara immediately ran to the shelter of Lord Krishna, who was just about to depart for Dwarka, his majestic capital city. Krishna protected the Pandavas and their mother Kunti from imminent death by stopping the weapon's uncontrollable heat and radiation with his own Sudarshan disc. Having delivered the Pandavas from this last calamity and seeing that all his plans were fulfilled, Lord Krishna was again preparing to leave. For years, Duryodhana had tormented Queen Kunti's family, but Krishna had protected them at every turn, and now he was going away. Kunti was overwhelmed, and she prayed to Krishna from the core of her heart. Kunti was Lord Krishna's aunt. He had incarnated as the son of her brother Vasudeva. Yet despite this conventional tie with the Lord, she fully understood his exalted and divine identity. She knew full well that he had descended from his abode in the spiritual world to rid the earth of demoniac military powers and reestablish righteousness. Just before the Great War, Krishna had revealed all this to her son Arjuna in words immortalized in the Bhagavad Gita 4:7-8. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharat, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I incarnate myself, in order to deliver the pious and annihilate the miscreants, as well as to reestablish the principles of religion. I invent myself millennium after millennium. Should I keep reading, or?
Yeah, well, unless, is there anyone else feeling somewhat inspired to the...
I can go.
Yes.
Okay. Krishna had accomplished his purpose of annihilating the miscreants by orchestrating the destruction of the unholy Kauravas. Then he installed Yudhishthira on the throne to establish the Pandava reign, and he consoled the slain warriors' relatives. The scene of the Lord's imminent departure provides the setting for Queen Kunti's exalted prayers. As Kunti approached the Lord's chariot and began to address him, her immediate purpose was to persuade him to remain in Hastinapur and protect the Pandava government from reprisals. "Oh, my Lord, are you leaving us today? Though we are completely dependent on your mercy and have no one else to protect us now when all kings are at enmity with us." Srimad Bhagavatam 1:8-37. From this supplication, we should not mistakenly conclude that Kunti's prayers were self-serving. Although her sufferings were far greater than those any ordinary person could endure, she does not beg relief. On the contrary, she prays to suffer even more, for she reasons that her suffering will increase her devotion to the Lord and bring her ultimate liberation. My dear Krishna, your Lordship has protected us from the poisoned cake, from a great fire, from cannibals, from the vicious assembly, from sufferings during our exile in the forest, and from the battle where great generals fought. I wish that all those calamities would happen again and again so that we could see you again and again. For seeing you means that we will no longer see repeated births and deaths. Bhagavatam 1:8-24-25. Kunti's words, the simple and illuminating outpourings of the soul of a great and saintly woman devotee, reveal both the deepest transcendental emotions of the heart and the most profound philosophical and theological penetrations of the intellect. Her words are of glorification impelled by a divine love steeped in wisdom. O Lord of Madhu, as the Ganges forever flows to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn unto you without being diverted to anyone else. Bhagavatam 1:8-42. Kunti's spontaneous glorification of Lord Krishna and her description of the spiritual path are immortalized in the Mahabharata and the Bhagavad Purana, Srimad Bhagavatam, and they have been recited, chanted, and sung by sages and philosophers for thousands of years. As they appear in the first canto of the Bhagavatam, Queen Kunti's celebrated prayers consist of only 26 couplets, verses 18-43 of the 8th chapter. Yet they are considered a philosophical, theological, and literary masterpiece. The present book, Teachings of Queen Kunti, includes those inspired verses and illuminating commentary by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, and the most renowned Vedic scholar and spiritual leader of our time. In addition to this commentary, originally written in 1962, Teachings of Queen Kunti contains further explanations that Srila Prabhupada gave more recently in an absorbing series of lectures. In those memorable talks delivered in the spring of 1973 at ISKCON's Western World headquarters in Los Angeles, he analyzed the verses in significantly greater detail and shed even more light upon them. This new Bhaktivedanta Book Trust publication, complete with 11 color prints of exquisite original oil paintings, will be a prized addition to the libraries of all those who seek a deeper understanding of life's mysteries. Written by a man of profound devotion and erudition, it will provide every reader with firm guidance along the universal path to genuine wisdom and spiritual enlightenment. The publishers.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much. Chandrika Sundari, Madhura Nitai for reading. Yes, so as you can see there, this general term that sometimes comes up, that we bring up, from great contraction can come the desire for great expansion. We see that the material world, it's a place of janma, mrityu, jara, vyadi, birth, death, old age, and disease. So Krishna is the savior. Krishna saves us. Interesting, this word I've analyzed, because we hear the word seva. Sometimes I'll make comment to somebody. I really appreciate, thank you for the seva. Seva is the service to Krishna. So to chant Mahamantra, service to Krishna. To take Krishna Prasadam, service to Krishna. So through the service, the seva, we are saved. Interesting, the word S-A-V-E-D in English, saved, must be connected with the word seva. And in seva, you are safe, also S-A-F-E, maybe saved. So to save someone, when they're saved, they're also safe. So in Krishna consciousness, through service to love, beauty, the all absolute loving center, we are saved, we are safe in that service. So in the negative mayic separation, the hankering of the sincere soul will be increased. So the very premise and the foundation of the teachings of Queen Kunti is that in that great suffering that came, she was able to pray, and Krishna was always there, giving help, support, protection from the Kauravas. So this understanding of the angelic beings and the demonic, those who want power, exists and has always existed in the material world. So this is called Asura and Deva. So the higher nature, the lower nature. In the Kali Yuga, these two exist in the same body. So we're at war within ourselves. But Krishna, if we call his help, guess who he will conquer within us? The lower shadow, exploitative, self-interested nature. Self-interested nature, S-I-N, self-interested nature means sin. So we want God-interested nature, and that. So worship the higher and live with God. Reject the higher and not serve God, then you can become dog. Prabhupada would say exactly that point. You are dog, living like dog, hog, dog, camel ass. So serve the higher and transform. Although in one sense, the dog we know has a good nature. If he serves the divine master, the dog will be transformed. So yeah, this is very interesting that we see even Jesus in his journey as a teacher. He was betrayed and put to the cross. So he called out, help me, Lord, do not forsake me. And even when the persecutors were coming towards him, he said, Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. And we also see Prahlad Maharaj in the story with Lord Nrsingadev. He is put into great difficulty. And it is true that the great messengers of the divine, no doubt, they have their enemy. The enemy is those who are envious of God. They must be envious of representative. So yeah, many points revealed and shared here. And also now we know alien or higher beings communing with human. Queen Kunti's sons were the result of Queen Kunti had union with the higher beings. And she had divine sons. Arjuna, of course, Indra, son of Indra, the king of heaven. Arjuna, very powerful. And of course, Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. So very deep, very deep. This history is going to the higher system also. Very fortunate. So any reflections or questions? We're about to enter into the first chapter. Exciting, the original person. Jenna?
Jenna, you had a question?
No question and no reflection. Just in the receiving mode. Thank you.
Yeah, I just had one quick question. So when Christians talk about like the creator, are they referring to Indra or Lord Brahma?
Well, that point they don't. That revelation hasn't yet come to them. So their understanding of the creator is God. So Prabhupada in one purport in the Bhagavatam gave intonation toward perhaps their understanding of God as Brahma, if they're seeing as creator. Because Brahma is the creator, but who gives the creative force to Brahma? That's Vishnu, Krishna. So the ontological revelation of what they have, you see, the Veda is giving every revelation of how the system, how God, Krishna's system of creation and manifest material system is going on in a very ontological and scientific way. Ontological means stage by stage, how it appears and manifests. So we can say that, their understanding of God is somewhat hazy because, like when we go through the chapters, this beyond Christianity, Srila Maharaja goes into, generally they're worshipping, it appears to the more the impersonal aspect, the Holy Spirit. So their conception of God is as, general, not defined, Indra or Brahma. Because Indra is the king of heaven. If their God in the Bible was Indra, there would be some indication of his wife, the celestial realm. But maybe more like the Brahma conception. But the son of the guru can also be coming, the position of Christ. He didn't reveal Krishna, so some conception, we may say he had some awareness of Brahma, perhaps even. So either Indra or Brahma, the son of, but the conception of God is more an impersonal, because God is a big figure. Because God is a title. Hare Krishna. But still we honor Christianity. Prabhupada was, he understood that the foundation of the Western sector and the society was based on, law is based on the biblical, the 10 Commandments. So Jesus has made a great contribution. But what Chaitanya Dev, Mahaprabhu, has given, this is something else. What Veda is giving is the PhD of theism. So we're very fortunate, true, that we have this revelation. So hence the yoga ladder, many revelations, stages, revelation. And not just general Vishnu conception, the Krishna conception. That means entrance and revelation to the highest relationship with the supreme entity is being revealed for us. Madhurya Lila. That means intimate relation, divine intimate relationship, of course. So Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Mathura. So neutral relationship, passive relationship, servitude relationship, friendship, if you want to be a friend. And Yoga Maya will take away the conception that your friend is God, and you'll be playing with your friend. But the friend that you have is Krishna, the Supreme Being. And then Krishna is a baby. You'll forget that Krishna is the Supreme Being, but he's my baby. I love my baby. And then my boyfriend, Krishna is your boyfriend. It's like you're the girlfriend, Gopi, under Srimati Radharani. So very deep what is revealed through the teachings of Saraswati Thakur, what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda came to give. It's the full-blown, blossomed attainment. Hare Krishna.
We have some newcomers to the group, maybe not first timers, but people joining us. This time, Andrew, Supriya, and a name which I don't know that any of us can read. Can anybody read this Sanskrit name? Please feel free
Yes,
to...
Jaya Davya? No, I don't know.
Saying here,
Thank
silently attending. Dandavat pranams. Hare Krishna. Dandavats.
Maori, I was wondering if you came on video to ask a question or just to share.
Oh, just to, I don't know, not be so distant with a blank screen. I'm no longer working, so now I can like focus in and tune a little bit more. So
Beautiful.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
Good to see you.
good to see you guys.
Yeah, we all feel very fortunate that we can come together and reflect. You know, Srila Prabhupada, he very much, you know, he slept only 4 to 6 hours in a 24-hour cycle and worked tirelessly to create these beautiful literatures for the Westerners, for us to develop and evolve in our devotion. And he was so happy that his disciples and followers, well-wishers, would study and read his books. So no doubt by this attempt, his divine grace can become pleased with us, bless us. And the blessings of the Vaishnava, the Siddha Mahapurush, means our own devotion and attraction for bhakti will increase and we will no doubt be purified. So we're bathing in his divine offering to Saraswati Thakur. It's a fact. So we're being exposed to his divine gift and his offering to the great Sampradaya. And, you know, it's interesting. I just this morning I was looking at a video of Srila Prabhupada in the beach. He would often rise, you know, he always rose very early, and then he would do his transcription work. And then he would walk, he would have a morning walk, and his disciples, students would follow him, and they would be, the writings that he had produced, they would be reading from the book while walking with him. And so, and someone once asked, Prabhupada, do you like to listen to your own books or read your own books? He goes, these are not my books. Krishna, he is the dictator. Krishna was dictating to me to write this book. So I'm hearing back what Krishna has said. And then he would stop and make some comment, an overview to what was written, the text and then the purport. So he said, we must study the books. These books will purify the intelligence and establish strongly within us this devotional awareness, knowledge. Like sometimes we brought up the analogy of the GPS coordinates. Stay close to the order of Sri Guru and the teachings, the path up the Everest. The books will set the GPS coordinates for the top of the mountain, Ananya Bhakti, exclusive service to Guru Gauranga. So, yeah, very fortunate we have this chance. Hare Krishna. Gaura Hari, Gaura Hari.
Maybe Andrew could read.
Is this coming from a different book than we were doing last night? Because I'm not sure if I have the access to it, or if someone could send it to me, I would be very happy to have a look. I don't know if I can immediately, but
yeah, I think it's there in the chat. Is it?
You may be able to see that because that was posted earlier. I'll read. Then we're up to page 36 on the PDF. But I can take a page or so until you find your place.
Sure, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Happy to go ahead, Maharaj?
Yes, please.
Great. The original person. Kunta vacha namasye purusham tvadyam ishvaram prakrate param alakshyam sarva bhutanam antar bahir avastitam. Srimati Kunti said, O Krishna, I offer my obeisances unto you because you are the original personality and are unaffected by the qualities of the material world. You are existing both within and without everything, yet you are invisible to all. Srimad Bhagavatam 1:8-18. Srimati Kunti Devi was quite aware that Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, although he was playing the part of her nephew. Such an enlightened lady could not commit a mistake by offering obeisances unto her nephew. Therefore, she addressed him as the original Purusha, beyond the material cosmos. Although all living entities are also transcendental, they are neither original nor infallible. The living entities are apt to fall down under the clutches of material nature, but the Lord is never like that. In the Vedas, therefore, he is described as the chief among all living entities. Nityo Nityanam Chetananam. Then again, he is addressed as Ishvara, or the controller. Have you found your place, Andrew? Oh, you're on mute. I'll finish this page.
Yeah.
Living entities or the demigods like Chandra and Surya are also to some extent Ishvara, but none of them is the supreme Ishvara or the ultimate controller. Krishna is the Paramesvara or the Supersoul. He is both within and without. Although he was present before Srimati Kunti as her nephew, he was also within her and everyone else. In the Bhagavad Gita 15:15, the Lord says, I am situated in everyone's heart, and only due to me one remembers, forgets, and is cognizant, etc. Through all the Vedas, I am to be known because I am the compiler of the Vedas, and I am the teacher of the Vedanta. Queen Kunti affirms that the Lord, although born within and without all living beings, is still invisible. The Lord is, so to speak, a puzzle for the common man. Queen Kunti experienced personally that Lord Krishna was present before her, yet he entered within the womb of Uttara to save her embryo from the attack of Ashvatthama's Brahmastra. Kunti herself was puzzled about whether Sri Krishna is all-pervasive or localized. In fact, he is both, but he reserves the right of not being exposed to persons who are not surrendered souls. This checking curtain is called the Maya energy of the Supreme Lord, and it controls the limited visions of the rebellious souls. It is explained as follows.
Wow, very, very deep. So one point there is that it said earlier, the Sudarshan Chakra protected the attack of Ashvatthama. So a Brahmastra weapon, is everyone aware, a Brahmastra weapon is like a nuclear weapon through mantra. So for those of you who are in Australia, Australia, it's said that in the Vedic times, the Astras were thrown in Australia. This is why there's much desert there. So there were many Vedic nuclear bombs let off in Australia. Astra. Prabhupada said that when he came. Astra, must be Brahmastra. And he came there 6 times, and Srila Govinda Maharaj came numbers of times also. So great Vaishnav sadhus have come to that land to bless it. But yeah, very interesting, the connection. Everywhere you'll see connection of these ancient divine leelas and stories in relationship to the modern world, like also Garuda. Garuda is mentioned in the Veda, but in Indonesia, the famous airline there is called Garuda Airline. Garuda is the great bird that carries Vishnu. So the evidence of Vedic wisdom is everywhere, everywhere. Many things, isn't it? So then also we see this checking curtain is called the Maya energy of the Supreme Lord. For those who want to forget Krishna and rebel against, like this example, there's 2 things for us: compliance to love or rebellion to love. If you want to pull out your Frank Sinatra record and do it your way, which you have free will to do, you will be captured by the Maya. Old Blue Eyes will get you. I did it my way. Then the question is, how's it working out for you, your way? If you follow Krishna, the way of love, then it will all get better. So the Maya energy of the Supreme Lord. And Maya means that which is not. So it's a deception. It's the shadow of Krishna. So go to Krishna. Go to love. Don't go to the shadow of love. Maya. So the Maya is where we're on inside the magic theater and playing all the different roles that we play, the different hats, the different realms. Brahma, Bhuvana, Loka. We're traveling higher planet, middle planet, lower planet, 8,400,000 species, moving. But as soon as you make decision and choice to pray to God, the Lord, help me, reveal yourself to me, then the Guru will appear and help. And then begins the great journey back to home, back to Godhead. Then you'll be eventually released from the magic theater of the Maya, and you'll be established in reality. And you'll be glad to know, folks, that the majority of all entity are there in the spiritual world. We are a small minority as like prisoners in the prison. So we are up for parole if we behave ourselves. If we don't deviate and we follow the orders of the parole officer, they will issue our parole. So we're making plans to please the parole officers. They've come inside the matrix and they want to give us parole. And once we get parole, we'll be allowed out, back to home, back to Godhead. It's a great chance for us. Enlightenment, love. To be unplugged. Morpheus will unplug you. If you've seen The Matrix, it's Vedic. It's not a documentary. It's not a fiction. It's a documentary. It's close to actually what happens. Neophyte means the new student, disciple. Morpheus unplugs the Guru, the knowledge of Veda. We are living inside a system, a machine, physical, material, and subtle machine. Brahma is the creator. But unlike in the movie when you're unplugged and you go to the world, no, when you're unplugged, you get entrance to the light first, and then you cross into the spiritual sky, and then are placed in the world, divine world. So beware of the agents of deception. They always play with power. They're intoxicated with power. But we're followers of love, the power of love, service to the higher. Hare Krishna. Is there any quick reflections there or comments? Anyone feeling that they disagree with these illustrious presentations? What is it before the marriage? They say, speak now or forever hold your peace. Does anyone disagree or is feeling that this relationship should be checked, or speak now, forever hold your peace? No doubt the doubts in our consciousness may be trying to check something, but yes, it is a type of marriage. Krishna consciousness is a type of marriage with a relationship with the higher through the masters, the teachings. But it's a very beautiful relationship. All aspects of it will nourish and help you. The prasadam, the shastra, the devotees, the gurus. It's a rich relationship that we're being prepared and drawn into here. Beautiful. The best relationship ever. And then Krishna will be revealed through all these practices. Finally, Radha Krishna, Mahaprabhu Nityananda. From the very beginning, Krishna is introduced to you. Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yes. Hare Krishna.
I'll just mention that we're just under 15 minutes according to schedule from the end of our gathering, if anybody wants to.
So I think, well, these are quite small sections, but I definitely see we could get through number 2 beyond the senses. It looks like it's 5 minutes reading, and then we could, then have a final wind up. Number 2.
That sounds great. Andrew, did you feel ready to read for us? Page 2, page 38, but page 2.
I will definitely give it. I'm not great at the Sanskrit pronunciations yet, but I will try my best. And
We're all learning.
beyond the senses, Maya Javanika Chanam Ajnad Hoksajam Avyayam Na Laksyasa Mudha Drsha Nato Natya Daro Yatha.
No.
Being beyond the range of limited sense perception, you are the eternally irreproachable factor covered by the curtain of deluding energy. You are invisible to the foolish observer, exactly as an actor dressed as a player is not recognized. Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam, thank you.
Yeah.
In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Sri Krishna affirms that less intelligent persons mistake him to be an ordinary man like us, and thus they deride him. The same is confirmed herein by Queen Kunti. The less intelligent persons are those who rebel against the authority of the Lord. Such persons are known as asuras. The asuras cannot recognize the Lord's authority. When the Lord himself appears among us as Rama Nrsimha, Nrsimha, Varaha, or in his original form as Krishna, he performs many wonderful acts which are humanly impossible. As we shall find in the 10th canto of this great literature, Lord Sri Krishna exhibited his humanly impossible activities even from the days of his lying on the lap of his mother. He killed the Putanya witch, although she smeared her breast with poison just to kill the Lord. The Lord sucked her breast like a natural baby, and he sucked out her very life also. Similarly, he lifted the Govardhana hill, just as a boy picks up a frog's umbrella, and stood several days continuously just to give protection to the residents of Vrindavana. Vrindavana. Oh, sorry.
Vrindavan.
Vrindavana.
Yes.
These are some of the superhuman activities of the Lord described in the authoritative Vedic literatures, like the Puranas, Itihasas, histories, and Upanishads. He has delivered wonderful instructions in the shape of the Bhagavad Gita. He has shown marvelous capacities as a hero, and as a householder, as a teacher, and as a renouncer. He is accepted as the supreme personality of Godhead by such authoritative personalities as Vyasa, Devala, Asita, Narada, Madhva, Sankara, Ramanuja, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Jiva Goswami, Visvanatha Chakravarti, Bhakti Siddhanta, Sarasvati, and all other authorities of the line.
Awesome.
He himself has declared as much in many places of the authentic literatures. And yet there is a class of men with demoniac mentality who are always reluctant to accept the Lord as the supreme absolute truth. This is partially due to their poor fund of knowledge and partially due to their stubborn obstinacy, which results from various misdeeds in the past and present. Such persons could not recognize Lord Sri Krishna even when he was present before them. Another difficulty is that those who depend more on their imperfect senses cannot realize him as the Supreme Lord. Such persons are like the modern scientist. They want to know everything by their experimental knowledge, but it is not possible to know the Supreme Person by imperfect experimental knowledge. He is described herein as atoksaya, adokshaja,
Yeah.
or beyond the range of experimental knowledge. All our senses are imperfect. We claim to observe everything and anything, but we must admit that we can observe things under certain material conditions only, which are also beyond our control. The Lord is beyond the observation of sense perception. Queen Kunti accepts this deficiency of the conditioned soul, especially of the woman class who are less intelligent. For the less intelligent, there must be such things as temples, mosques, or churches so that they may begin to recognize the authority of the Lord and hear about him from authorities in such holy places. For the less intelligent, this beginning of spiritual life is essential, and only foolish men decry the establishment of such places of worship, which are required to raise the standard of spiritual attributes for the mass of people. For less intelligent persons, bowing down before the authority of the Lord, as generally done in the temples, mosques, or churches, is as beneficial as it is for the advanced devotees to meditate upon him by active service.
Yeah. Yeah, so we see that here, the theme of the understanding to view the supreme entity. So there's the supreme entity and the representatives of the supreme entity. So even when Krishna himself, God himself, was on the planet, not all could recognize because the demonic rebellious nature. So the disciples of Christ recognized him as the Messiahs. Others saw him as a threat to the power play of Caesar and the Roman hierarchy of power. And so those who are contracted, they are naturally opposed to the expansion to love because they live in a crippled consciousness. They live in, it is a threat. Love is a threat. The idea that there is an Ishvara or a supreme being, controller above me, one who is in false construct feels threatened by that. So we see that's the nature of the demon. The demonic nature is that I want to be master of all I survey, and any threat to my mastership, I will attempt to suppress, check, or even kill. Whereas the divine nature is to see that there is creator, a supreme, all-loving, absolute center, and what is my place or service to love, to the higher. So subordinate. There is a feeling of subordination, a feeling of servitorship to the higher. And in that there's harmony. And then we see, going on here, the Krishna, when he comes, he performs many pastimes, like killing the Putana witch. A few classes back, we went through some of the different material desires. When Krishna's killing the demons in Gokula, they represent the different demonic desires that exist with us in the matrix. The different anarthas, or you could say coverings of the false construct, the ahankar. And then going on, it reflects Krishna is accepted as the Supreme Personality of Godhead by many, many authoritative personalities. And then it's listing many of the heavyweights within the disciplic succession, great rishis, masters, personalities who have accepted Krishna as the Supreme. And then, of course, toward the end, it goes into for the less intelligent. So the less intelligent, all beings are loved by the Supreme. All beings are part and parcels, but at different stages of awareness or potential for awareness of the higher. In the Kali Yuga, it is said everyone is lost in less intelligence because of the covering, the spiritual winter. So in context, it's not that Swami Maharaja Prabhupada is singling out a particular group or race or sex. It's ultimately an overview that the present Kali Yuga, because you see Queen Kunti is in a female body, but she's Vaishnavi. She's awakened in her spiritual understanding. So there's the higher feminine, higher masculine, lower feminine, lower masculine. So contracted in whatever life form or awakening in whatever life form. But generally in the human form, there is that chance. Yeah, and so the Varna ashram is there, the Sudra, Vaishya, Kshatriya, Brahmin. The Brahmin class is those who are generally seeking with their wisdom, knowledge. But the incredible thing with bhakti, you don't need intelligence to advance in bhakti. You need devotion, love, attraction, the ability to be open. The service conception is what Krishna is, that's what's attracting Krishna, attracting the representative of Krishna, that service tendency. Atashri Krishna nama dina bhavidgrayamindriya shevan mukhi jivada svaim evisparatjada. So loving devotional service is what Krishna is reading in our attempt. So despite our handicapped tendencies, sanskar, intelligent, less intelligent, it doesn't matter. If you are open and awakening to the great prospect of bhakti, there is no disqualification. Your awakening, your progression, your promotion will come through your serving attitude. Now, very interesting, because to love God means to serve God. If in this world, if you say, yeah, I love you, then some service will have to come. Like in the world, if someone goes, yeah, I have much love for you, but then the way or the expression of love, the verb is doing, it's serving. So in the same for Guru Gauranga also. So to love Gurudev, the representative, or to love Krishna, is to follow the instructions of Krishna, to follow the instructions of the Guru, to love the Guru. And those instructions will take you to where? To Krishna, to the realm of love, to the object of your love, to the object of your service, conception, who you are serving. So action. And then interesting, Swami Maharaj Prabhupada is mentioning here about the temples. It's in the Kali Yuga. And yes, please. Hare Krishna.
Oh, I think there was a delay, but I feel like women was intelligent.
Yeah, these
in what you just said.
But the very book you're reading, Queen Kunti, like lower male, lower female, lower. So someone could go, okay, well, in order to appease being taken out of context, we can add less intelligent female, less intelligent male. The context must be always seen, because the nature of bhakti is in devotion, in your expansion through Krishna consciousness, everyone will become divinely intelligent. So when Prabhupada would give criticism, he's giving criticism to the contracted materialistic state, whether in male form or female form. So he would say, many people are living like hogs, dogs, camels, and asses, but he's referring to both male, female, Americans, Africans, Italians, Chinese. So if we give criticism to the activity of the Chinese race, then that can be said, oh, the Guru was racist. But he's not racist, he's pointing out the fault in the activity of a particular race, their action. They eat dog, they eat this, they eat that, they eat cricket, scorpion. So they're living in exploitative tendency. So ultimately, all aspects of Vedic revelation, especially Sankhya means the analysis of what is wrong or what is contracted or conditioned. It can be always viewed as, this person is judging, the Vedas are judging, I can eat whatever I want and God loves me even if I eat my brother's arm. I have my right, my freedom, my liberalism, but always in context, because the Veda also has to establish the difference between the contracted state and the expansive state. So bhakti is the medicine to bring everybody into a state of contracted or lower intelligence to higher intelligence. male and female. So if the human is living like animal, like a hog, dog, camel, and an ass, it's not a, you could say, it's the state of consciousness. We know that within the distraction or within the coverings or within that contraction is gold. So the Veda is pointing out what's wrong in the distraction and in the separation, but drawing to the positive. So like in a family, you have brothers and sisters, and the parents want all the children to shine in a happy, healthy life. So when the father says, my dear son, John, you know, I'm concerned about you putting needles in your arms. You are taking this drug and you may die in the next 2 months or 6 months or a year, 2 years. He can perceive that. You are judging me. Who are you to judge me? You should love me no matter what. But the father is pointing at the reality of the activity or the conception, the lifestyle that he's chosen. So a higher authority is giving us the higher intelligence to discern and educate us what will ultimately be a benefit. So always, yeah, the context of reference. Hare Krishna. You know, when I would sometimes, as a younger man, lecture in universities, and people would be arguing over a point, why you're criticizing, why the Veda is criticizing, you know, I'm a Kiwi, and, you know, my grandfather ate meat and lambs and beef. Why you're criticizing my lifestyle? Why you're promoting this vegetarianism? But then the authoritative scripture is pointing out. So we're simultaneously saying, well, the Vedas want to educate us that those beings have a right to exist. So we're tending in the Vedic literature to not point out the do nots, but then we present the positive alternative, which is the do. So we say, okay, look, here's this beautiful prasadam, try the samosa, try the halava, try the sabji. But it's true, when you promote truth, others who are in untruth, they may try to defend that. So then Prabhupada would come to a point where he would go, okay, as you like. You continue if that's what you like to do, you're free. So even Krishna, after speaking the Bhagavad Gita, he said to Arjuna, okay, I'm God, I'm the Supreme. Everything's revealed as you like. Now you act. What do you choose? And you'll see that even if you are in your progressive, what you consider progressive lifestyle according to the Veda and the higher, but you will meet those who will perceive, no, you're judging, you vegans, you vegetarians, you followers of Bhakti, you're trying to establish the supremacy of your conception over ours. Who are you to judge, you know? So always that argument can be there. So the Vedic context is always, if there is some reference to a contracted state, it's for everybody. It's not singling out African American or Mexican or Italian or Russian or Celt or Irish or man or woman. It's pointing out the conditioned asleep state, the contracted state, but then positively presenting the opportunity for the expanded, the liberation. And of course, you know, there will always be argument for both sides. So the atheist or the communist might say, this is all rubbish. They'll appear, someone can appear in the group here and go, this is rubbish. We're anti, you know, you guys are all an illusion. This is opiate for the masses. You just should worship us. We're giving you bread and vodka. And vehemently they can do that. But most of us here will probably dismiss the nonsense, dismiss the madness of that. So yeah, everything in context. The the acharyas, the masters representing love, divinity, Krishna, they want to see us all come out of the lower intelligence, which means those who are sleeping in the illusion of rebellion to love, right across the matrix.
Maharaj, this might be something we can continue on our next group. I think it's definitely worth getting to the bottom of that one line that I feel that I'm caught on.
Then there'll come a point, okay, then you can withdraw from all aspects. That one line with 99, with all positivity, with all the revelation of how Bhakti is transforming us, its context. It's, yeah, what I've expressed is enough. Us.
Totally. Sure. Well, maybe we will refine our questions and our reflections on the topic.
You reflect, and then this is recorded, so those who are still confused, they can go back and assimilate. And
it looks like the next chapter actually continues on a little bit of this topic, so we may get another chance.
So isn't it interesting? The next is the most intelligent woman. So it means that there is intelligent woman and less intelligent woman. There is intelligent man and less intelligent man. There is advanced human and demonic human. There is good citizen and very, very bad citizen. Yeah. So that reference. But bhakti is positivity to bring all of us into the highest version of ourselves. So that's the play. That's what's on offer for bhakti. Hare Krishna. Jai Sachinandana. Jai Sachinandana.
Well, we meet again in a few days, everybody. So we will keep you in the loop. But of course, our schedule does stay the same. So
yeah.
Reach out directly, and thanks to everybody that joined today. If there's anybody who wants to jump in with a final question or comment, feel free to unmute. Thank you, Maharaja.
We'll put up, I'll put up to the YouTube channel so you can reflect and go back into the Bhakti is always the do's and mainly the do's, but there is the do-nots, Prabhupada, when he was promoting the life of Bhakti, he had many people attempting to it was foreign, it was many things that he was establishing. It is true, we have our perception and our perspective, but from his perspective, it's all loving, all good. And the Veda is a loving friend coming to align us to the higher. So really we're attempting to understand from the benevolent perspective. That it's benevolent. It's all benevolent. It's to see our empowerment, validation. You see, because I'm in the line representing, then I'm of course going to heavily defend the divine agent, their perspective. So if what appears to be something minimizing, it's always in context. Because he wants to see all beings, men and women, all entity rise, Prabhupada, us all rise in love. Hare Krishna. All right, folks, well, look, have a great, my Friday, your Thursday. So for some of you, have a great weekend. And we'll meet again soon.
It looks like you might have something to share.
Hare Krishna.
Me? No. I just want to say Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And Rohit.
I share my love.
Sudishan, are you still there? He's working. And did we ever find out who Supriya is? Supriya, she's a newcomer. Supriya?
Dandavat, Maharaj. Dandavat.
Okay, Supriya is a male of male inclination.
No, I'm a female.
Oh, Supriya's female. Oh,
Yeah.
Supriya, female. And coming from where?
I'm coming from India.
Yay, Tandavat, Hare Krishna.
Hare
So
Krishna.
Rohit and Supriya. What part of India are you from, Supriya?
I'm from Delhi.
Delhi, very nice. Hastinapur, we were just talking about New Delhi. The famous Hastinapur, the Red Fort. Mm. So we're blessed with your presence because you're in the place where this took place. You're living in the physical place that all this took place. Hastinapur. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. All right, Dandavat Pranams, everybody. Big hugs, and we'll see you in the not too distant future.
Bye, everybody.
Dandavat.
Dandavat.
Krishna.
Dandavat.
Thank you.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Jai Gurudev. Hare Krishna.
Jai Gurudev.
Krishna.